Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I am going to do a little bit of a different video today. I am going to do a get to know me video. I am in my room, so Mama's looks like she's going to come and, jump on me. So... and Apollo is also in the room, so I'll show you those guys towards the end. You'll probably see Mama's on my lap. I am in my late 40s. I have been visually impaired all my life. I have a eye condition that's called retinopathy of prematurity. I was almost 3 months premature, so my retinas did not develop properly because I was such a early baby. I'm sorry, I'm trying to angle there we go. I'll show you both me and Mama's. My left eye, I never have had vision in. They actually took my left eye very early, so I have a prosthetic that I've had since I was about 1 or so, I believe. I've just been told about it. I don't remember any of it. My right eye, I have about 2400 vision. What you can see at 200 feet, I can see at 24 feet. Basically, is the comparison, how you compare that. And that is like a large object at 24 feet. So, like, I can still see print. I have to hold it very close to my field of vision. Obviously, the larger the object, the better it is for me to see at a further distance. I never knew any different with my vision, so I always thought, and I still do to some extent, think it's normal. For me, it's normal, because I didn't know anything different. My vision has gotten worse over the years. I've had over 40 eye surgeries on my right eye, with detached retinas, and I had a cornea transplant a couple times, retina transplant a couple times, so, yeah. And I've also had one cornea transplant as well. That brings me up to December of 1993, where I was at the University of Arkansas. I had a soccer scholarship there, and I was I was halfway through my junior year when a drunk driver hit myself and a friend of mine. I was a passenger in her car. And it was a 2-lane highway, one lane going one direction, one lane going the opposite direction. And the gentleman hit us head on. It was mostly on the passenger side where I was, unfortunately. And that's all I remember up until I woke up in the hospital a couple days later. I had found out I broke my neck at the C5-6 level, the cervical level. It was an incomplete injury, thank goodness. Um, and I had a halo that was bolted to my skull to stabilize my neck. I had that on for about 10 months. Uh, the injury was very significant, so like I said, I'm very, very fortunate to be an incomplete quad. Um, so I was in ICU for about 3 weeks. I then was brought to a rehab unit in Little Rock, Arkansas, where I stayed there for 10 months. I am so, so thankful for the time that I did have at the rehab hospital. Today, if you were to get injured, you're lucky to be in a rehab unit for a month. They try to push you out in 2 to 3 weeks' time. Back then, things were a lot different. So, like I said, I was in rehab for 10 months. I got my halo off about 2 weeks before I was released from rehab, and I was able to, I had to learn kind of how to sit again after the halo came off, because I was learning how to do things with the halo on, and that you're very, very restrictive. You have rods coming down to your chest area, with a sheepskin sheath over your chest and your shoulders and all that the rods go on. So after the halo came off, I was in rehab about another 2-3 weeks, no more than 3 weeks. But like I said, I kind of had to learn how to do things I had already learned a little bit over again, because it was different as far as stabilization of my body and how to balance and that type of thing. The technique was the same, but figuring out my center of gravity was different. So I had come back to Rochester, New York, where I'm originally from. I come back there, because now I'm in California. So I went back to Rochester with my family, and I finished college there in Rochester that next fall. I was able to finish up the fall, spring, and then I was able to graduate in the spring, but they allowed me to graduate providing that I would do the other 2 courses I needed to complete my degree that summer, so I did that, and that wasn't a problem. After I graduated, I was, functioning with a new disability. I was very bitter and angry for quite a while. I'd say from 93 till, I'd say really, till maybe 2010. So I lived from 93 to 2010 very angry, very bitter. Anything would set me off. I was still functioning, doing day-to-day tasks, but if anything was said to me or the wrong way, I would just blow up and snap, uh, which I'm not proud of. Definitely. Um, I didn't smile much. I just was not happy. I just had not learned how to accept the additional disability because it wasn't normal to me. With my vision, that's never bothered me because, again, I never knew anything different. But when I got injured, my whole life was basically torn upside down. I did not have supportive parents either. Unfortunately, my family has not been supportive of me since the injury. They have different thoughts as to what happened, even though they were told time and time again that, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't partying, there's no alcohol in my system. But they feel that I was drinking and, just living life as a teenager does. I wasn't living at home. Like I said, I was in college, so they just thought that, I was a partier and not very responsible, which I wasn't. I hadn't drank or done drugs or any of that, smoked at all at that point. Well, I say that the only time I had drank, and this was only once in my life, was when I was 21. And I did get drunk that night, and I will never ever do it again. It was just awful. I didn't like the fact that I got so sick, and it just wasn't me. I was out of control with myself. And for me, I have to be in control what I do. I have to know what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I can't have alcohol, a substance, anything deter any of my own abilities, and have that substance be in control and not myself. So I've never drank since then. I never will. I don't have any desire to. So I've never done drugs. Like I said, I only drank that one time. I've never smoked, none of that. But to say all that, I was brought up in a Christian home, and so that they just thought that since I wasn't following God at the time and I was living my own life, doing my own thing, that I was doing all that as well. So they just thought I was being very rebellious against them and God and everything. So, saying all that, I think that (2010) or so is when I really started to change myself as an individual. I started going back to church and just continue to go to church, and I still do till this day. And I just asked for, God to help me to be able to deal with me being physically disabled, besides my vision, and just being able to accept it for what I am today. It took me just surrendering to God and just asking for the help and knowing that one, was ready to learn to accept who I was again. I'm not saying that I have bad days, good days. I have great days normally, but I also have bad days as well. My life still isn't perfect, but I'm a lot happier and I can accept my day-to-day life and what happens in my day-to-day life, where before I would just get so bitter and angry and just blow up at people. And, why are you looking at me this way? Or I mean, if a person looked at me or asked a question, I'd just get really defensive, and I'm not that way at all anymore. And I'm so thankful that I'm not. Actually, now I do, I'm on part of the MAD program, Mothers Against Drug Drivers and Students Against Drug Drivers, so I speak a lot about my injury. I never thought I would. I never thought I would do that. But if people like myself that have been in a situation with a drunk driver and kids don't see it, teenagers don't see it, other people don't see it, it's not gonna affect them as much. So I definitely do a lot of speaking at high schools, colleges, some with the police department here in Fresno I speak with. Sorry about that. Also, I just ask for myself. I'm not saying that you have to do this or this is how I do it. And, this is part of the channel, is my own day-to-day life and how I live with my disability. For me, I ask God to help me to get through each day and, help me to handle and be a light while I'm out in the community here. Just be as what He would want me to be. Meaning God, how God would want me to be day to day. Either at home, out, wherever I'm at. Just for an example, today I was out. I got my hair washed and cut earlier. Everything was going great. I had walked down to the bus stop and I was about to cross the street. And I saw the car to my left and they were going to make a right turn. I waited a second. The light had changed because I always hit the crosswalks. And right as I was starting to cross, she starts turning right. And the person behind her is yelling and blowing her horn. I backed up immediately. I did not get hurt, thank goodness. But she just wasn't watching. And she's yelling at me because the fact she thought I was in the wrong. So the person behind her came running to her car and says, "Aren't you watching what you're doing?" And she's getting really upset. And, I was thankful because, there was a witness in case I did get hurt. Thank God I didn't. I didn't have the camera on, or else I probably would have recorded some of that. But I didn't get upset. I just, I did say, you need to please be more careful. She never said a word and she just sped off and was, verbally disgusted, thinking that I was at fault, but clearly I wasn't. And the lady behind her said, "Why didn't you even yell at her?" I said, "There's no need to, because it's not going to change the situation. I mean, if I get upset or get really angry or pissed off with her. Sorry about the language a little bit, but I could have been then maybe shot, or you just never know what is out there nowadays. So you just gotta really, really keep your cool. It's hard at times. I wanted to definitely say something, but I just thought, no, I just need to be quiet. Let her go. She was really mad. So that was really emotional for me. Because I almost did get hit again. It just brought all kinds of memories back to when I got injured. And this isn't the first time this has happened. It happens maybe once or twice a week, but I mean, this was really a very, very close call. She was inches away from getting me. So, yeah. So you just have to know when to say something, when not to say anything. I guess that's the really important thing here, is just use your wisdom and don't always spout off at everything, every instance, because then, that can cause more trouble. Also, I would like to discuss some of the challenges I found being visually impaired, being injured. I think this is really where my vision has come in play for me, where I noticed things with my vision that, being also in the chair, if things aren't marked properly, with curb cuts, if they're not marked with, a lot of the wheelchair curb cuts have the yellow or red tactile bubbles on them. That is for visually impaired, to let them know that there's not a step and it's totally flat. So that's helped greatly since I've been in a chair. I have gone off a curb once or twice, just because I didn't have that when I first got injured, and I didn't notice it was a drop off and not the ramp. I didn't know there wasn't a wheelchair cut out there. So I do notice that has been pretty challenging with me, with a dual disability now. Drop offs are big. Like big cracks in the sidewalk, like I showed you in the video, coming from onto Herndon from Ingram to Palm. Those big drop offs, if I didn't know about those and just had for the very first time gone on those, I would have gone over those bumps if they were going down. Like if I'm facing towards them, I can see them and there's no problem because I can tell the depth perception facing them. But if I'm going towards a curb and they're going down, I don't have that depth perception to tell that there's a drop off, if that's making any sense. So that's a big challenge for me. I think that's, as far as my vision with being in a chair now, that's the biggest issue I have, is drop offs. Making sure things are flat. Some of the other challenges now that I have being injured, is I have a lot of respiratory issues where at night I use a ventilator at night. I don't have a tracheostomy anymore. I did when I first got injured. But my level of injury I'm not able to breathe very well laying flat or like at a 30-degree angle or so. I have to be on my vent. Um, the other big issue I personally have is a lot of urological issues. Um, and these are all sustained from the spinal cord injury. When I first got injured, they were doing self-cathing, where I would be catheterized every 4 to 6 hours, and that did not work well. I would end up voiding on myself during the 4 to 6 hour time that I would be cathed. So it just wasn't ideal. So we switched to the Foley catheter. With that, I was ending up having a lot of bladder spasms. So I would leak around the catheter and still be wet because of me leaking around the catheter and voiding around the catheter. After that, I'm sorry, the garbage truck is outside. After that, we went to a suprapubic tube where the catheter was placed near my belly button or my suprapubic area. Again, the same issue. I would still end up voiding normally through the urethra. So that didn't work. And we tried these for several, from 2009, from 1993 to 2002. So there was almost 9 years that we were trying to, do the self-cathing. We did the regular Foley catheter and then the suprapubic tube. I never had any Botox done. I don't think they were doing Botox during that time. It never was mentioned to me. So I don't know if that would have helped or not. I've never tried it, so I don't know. In 2002, I had a bladder reconstruction done. So basically, I have a ileoconduit now, which is basically they reconstruct your bladder. In some cases, they take out your bladder. I still have my bladder. And then they connect the two ureters to your intestine. And then from your intestine, they make a stoma. So since that was done, I don't have any more problems with leakage. For the longest time, I always had problems with bags fitting properly. I always struggled with that for a very long time. I'd end up having to change the bag every 3 days max. Usually I would only get 2 days out of a bag, sometimes 1 day. And whatever bag I was trying with rings and, just to adapt to stuff to change the bag, how the bag fit, it just never worked. At the time, I was a lot bigger than I am now, and I know that was part of the issue. So, since I've lost like 200 pounds, it's been a lot better, and I've also figured out a bag that has worked, a company I never heard of for a long time, that I'm now using, and it's been great. I can keep a bag on for 5 days, 6 days. I've gone as long as 6 days. I don't like going that long because of odor of the bag and that type of thing, especially if I have a kidney infection. But normally, right now, I'm changing about every 4 to 5 days. I got really sick in August, and I was told I had kidney stones, which I've had one other time. So they put 2 nephrostomy tubes in, and those go directly from your kidney out your back. So I do have a total of 3 bags right now. 1 nephrostomy tube on the left and 1 nephrostomy tube on the right. And then also on the right side is my urostomy. I just found out right before I started the channel that I do not have kidney stones that are visible. I might still have them, but that wasn't the reason why that's not why my kidneys were being blocked. They thought the kidney stones were blocking my kidneys and bladder, so that's why they put in the tubes, the nephrostomy tubes. What has actually happened, and I've never heard this happening before, is that from the reconstruction of my bladder, my ureters have closed on both sides. On my left side, it is completely closed, and on my right side, it is 90% closed. So, we are going to see. I'm not sure yet when, I haven't been notified of this, but we're going to have tubes put in through the nephrostomy sites and see if they can open up the ureters so that my bladder can empty again through the urostomy, because I wasn't getting very good output through the urostomy, so that's why they thought it was the kidney stones. That's what the x-ray showed, but going through further ultrasounds and when my nephrostomy tubes got changed it's been about a month ago, that's what they found after they did a nephrostomogram, and that's basically like a ultrasound through the nephrostomies. So if that cannot be done, I will have to have a revision, or I'll have to have my urostomy. I'm not sure if it'll have to be redone in a different location, or what will have to happen if they cannot get the tubes, the stents through the nephrostomy tubes. So I was pretty frustrated about that, because sometimes the nephrostomy tubes can be pretty uncomfortable. If you lay on them wrong or sit on them wrong, it builds a lot of pressure. So yeah, that's what I am dealing with right now as far as the bladder goes. So I will keep everyone updated as to what happens, and if they do have to do a reconstruction, how that will go, kind of the process. So if someone else that's watching the channel that has a urostomy, that's a spinal cord injury, you'll know what to expect, hopefully. Also, a lot of people might wonder, I don't have complete sensation. It starts like from a little bit below, like and through, I think you can say this, up until like the collarbone area and up, I have full sensation. Anything below that, it's hit or miss, depends on the day, how I'm sitting or lying or what position I'm in. So that is all variable from moment to moment, day to day. It can change like from one moment to another. I know it might not make sense, and a lot of people get confused when a person says they're a spinal cord injury, a quadriplegic. You expect them not to be able to feel anything and not be able to move any of their limbs but maybe their head, or very limited use of their arms. I do have some movement in my legs. Also, I have movement in my arms and the rest of my body. I don't have full function of any of my limbs, and they are pretty weak, and I get, if like I'm doing something strenuous, I get tired pretty easily. So my hand function is limited. My hand function's pretty weak. So yeah, but I'm not sure. I really haven't shown what I'm able to do as far as movement and that type of thing. But if you do see it in future videos, or you're wondering how I do things, just ask. I won't be offended. If you don't know, then asking is a great way to learn. And I really want to stress that if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. That won't bother me, because like I said, if you don't know, asking is a way to gain knowledge. So with that, I am going to conclude the video. If you have any questions, comments, please ask. Don't hesitate to post any comments. I have not seen any comments in any of the videos yet. I do have a light viewing community right now, and I'm okay with that. The channel is new. I haven't gotten it out to a lot of people yet, because I'm not sure quite how to promote the channel and let them know what I'm doing. So with that, I am going to turn the camera around in a moment. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please considering to subscribe. Like I said earlier, make any comments, good or bad, that's okay. Feedback for me is good, and that's what I'm kind of looking for, to see what you guys would like to see and what you wouldn't like to see and that type of thing. Hopefully this video wasn't too scattered, and people enjoy the content that I have shared today. And with that, I am going to flip the camera around and I will show you little man. Mama's is way back in her bed in her little house, so I won't be able to show you her, but I will conclude the video with little man, as he is sound asleep, but I'll try to stir him to wake him up. He's laying on the bed at the moment. Okay, I messed up the camera there for a minute, so I will conclude the video with you guys seeing Little's Mr. Apollo. Apollo, little. He came in, when I was outside. Okay, he's like, I want to sleep, Mom. Leave me alone. Alright, there he is, my buddy. When I came home, he was outside and he was crying. He saw me coming up, and he was across the street. He just cried and cried and came running to me and then jumped up, and so I let him in for a while so he wanted to eat and take a little bit of a nap. But normally during the day he is outside, and then I bring him in right before I go to bed, and he usually is in all night unless he has a bad night and he just wants to go back outside. Then I'll have either get up and take him out, or I'll have my friend take him out. Alright, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you'd like to see any future videos, please hit the notification bell. And when I do post my next video, you will be notified. Thank you and have a great day. Bye. Okay, I have a surprise for everyone. Here's Miss Mama's. She just came out of her little house, which is right there. She is wandering and bothering me because she wants to eat. So she's wandering about. It's getting close to her feeding time, so an extra surprise with her. And Mr. Littles is still, sound asleep. I got a little burr out of him. Oh my goodness, Mama boy tired. Mama boy tired. Okay, yeah, he came in when I came home. He wanted to eat what Mama's had left in her bowl, because she won't eat it after it gets so old. So he'll finish it up, and then he crashed out on the bed. And here is this little girl. Mama's sitting on my lap because she wants to eat. So again, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and also leave any comments, good or bad, is appreciated. If you would like to be notified of any future videos, please hit the notification bell, and when I post my next video, you will be notified when that is posted. Thank you again, and have a great rest of your evening.